So we're good on audio, right? Okay, all right. I'm gonna let Coach start with an opening statement and then we'll get to your questions. We do need to wrap up around 10:25-ish so we can transition to Jake.
Good morning, everybody. It's officially basketball season. I saw the first snowflakes this morning, about 6 a.m. So excited. Great opportunity as we take part in the Gavitt games and have a great test and a great venue against a great program and in Marquette. And we're excited to be, as always, a part of the Gavitt games and you know, what a tremendous family. The Gavitts have been very, very influential in the world of basketball and again, excited to be a part of this. So coming off our last game, was very pleased with what we did defensively, and I thought we were very efficient on the offensive end for a team that didn't shoot the ball very well. We're a really good shooting team that just kind of missed shots, but thought we got the ball where we needed to. I'm very pleased with our offensive rebounding and extremely pleased with just the opportunity to get Curbelo and Trent back into the flow a little bit of what we're trying to do and see what that looks like as we move forward here. So good to have them back. No new news on Hutch yet. He is starting to do some light workouts, and we'll see how that moves forward today. And obviously last game without Kofi. So we'll head to Milwaukee and get ready for a tough road battle.
Hey, Brad, could you talk about your history with Shaka Smart?
Yeah, Shaka has been a guy that obviously, you know, now I feel like a bit of a veteran, and obviously we played his team at in the first round of the NCAA tournament, my first year as a head coach at VCU. Shaka had that thing rolling at an extremely high level, and it allowed Stephen F. Austin to get we had our first NCAA tournament win in the school's history there, really on kind of a fortunate 4-point play. But no, and then obviously he takes the Texas job. We end up in the same state, and we scrimmaged them one year. He was gracious enough to scrimmage us, and then obviously myself going to Oklahoma State, being in the league together. We played against each other's teams there, and he's been a good friend. He's been a guy that has been an acquaintance, and we've had conversations over the years and how he built VCU when I was at Stephen F. And he's been a guy that I've picked his brain on various things, both inside and outside of basketball.
And his style was sort of compared to your style when you played faster. Can you talk about how his style has changed in the different places he's gone? Well,
I mean, he's back playing that way now. The way he played at VCU, I mean, just constant attacking, a ton of pressure. You know, you're going to get pressed off a missed free throw. You're going to get pressed every possession. You know, they'll give you a lot of different looks in that press. But you know, then just wide open on the offensive end. This team this year has taken a lot of threes, more threes than I remember his teams in the past taking. But yeah, just maximize their effort and their intensity. He's always got long athletes, and this team's no different.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad, you said the other day Jacob Grandison has grown. How has he grown in this last year with you?
Well, I think he's a guy that, again, last year, just coming off the year off, getting adjusted to the Big Ten, I think there's a big mental growth with him getting acclimated, getting adjusted, and then literally playing a different position this summer with the Finnish national team, playing a lot of off guards, being in ball screens, being in a decision maker, Those were all things that he's really grown from in the offseason, and it was a great experience for him. And he's continued to further enhance that piece of his game.
And with Coleman playing the 4 and he's more at the 3 now, does that change anything for him? And what do you think he brings to your team? Because it feels like, Brad, most people talk about the other stars you got in your team, and he just seems to bring a lot to you.
Yeah, I mean, Jake's one of our most versatile guys, and he's always going to be able to guard, any wing for that matter, at really any size. But he's a guy that, gives you that 3-point shooting. Now he's added the ability to set a ball screen and be a pick and pop guy, but he's also that guy now who can come off the ball screen. We feel pretty comfortable with him in dribble handoffs, in zoom actions and pin downs, coming off and being able to make plays, not just for himself, but for others. And his ability to get out and run. He's an elite runner, and never gets tired. So, his ability in the open court now, because of his increased ball handling responsibilities, he can get out and make plays. And that's something that we're seeing a lot of here.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Coach, good morning. I also had a couple questions on Jacob Grandison. He seems to be getting a lot more involved early in the year in just the first 2 games, and obviously that could be a product of other guys being out. But what have you kind of seen from him in these first 2 games that's really impressed you, because he's scoring a lot?
Yeah, but we need his leadership. I think that's one of the things that's maybe gone unnoticed a little bit, is how good a leader he's been. He's playing a lot of minutes. Again, one of our most versatile guys. He's a guy that we run actions to, and we put him in a lot of positions to what we call shakes or high shakes, coming off ball screens to space the floor. There's a couple of rip drive opportunities in there. So, we're running actions to him, and that's not something that necessarily we did a lot last year.
Yeah, and then personality-wise, whenever we talk to him, I always feel like he's really wise, or maybe in the way he speaks. Can you kind of describe how that helps his leadership ability a little bit?
I think it's maturity. He's got a very mature attitude. He's got a very mature way about him. His personality is that of one of more of an adult. Kind of a fatherly figure to some of these guys. Now he's a class clown as well. He's funny. He's got a great sense of humor, but he's a guy that, again, has he understands the crowd he's in, where he's at, and his surroundings all the time. And, he's a very mature young guy.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Coach, as you go out to become a road team, you haven't been a road team in a while as far as crowds. Is there something special about going back into enemy territory and maybe hearing boos and seeing how your team reacts to hostile environments?
Well, we're definitely going to see that tomorrow. Marquette's one of the storied programs in college basketball. They've got a tremendous fan base, playing a great venue. I'm expecting a sellout crowd or close to it, and none of them are going to be for us. So, how we handle that, we were terrific on the road last year. Obviously minus the fans. But again, it's still the challenge of maturity, toughness. You've really got to be good on the defensive end. That's why we keep stressing so much and talking so much about defensive end and rebounding the basketball. Those things get amplified even more. And then you can't turn the ball over. And that's going to be a big challenge tomorrow against a team that presses and applies a bunch of pressure.
Thank you.
Brad, go ahead. Brad, I count 5 games that you've played against Marcel at Maryland, and I'm curious of what you've seen out of what Shaka is doing in his first 2 games. Is it a matter of usage rate, or is it a matter of him just being an older guy on that team? But is there a difference that you're seeing from what you've seen from him at Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy that has turned into a primary ball handler, a primary decision maker. He's at the top of the food chain, with a team that needs him to score. So his identity, his role is different. And, let's not forget, in his time at Maryland, they were very, very successful, won a lot of games. And, he was the defensive player of the year in the Big Ten or close to it almost every year, a guy that was a menace to score against. And now his role is flipped, excuse me. He's a guy that they need him to score baskets and they need him to facilitate. And I think it's showing how good a player he is. He's a guy that we used to dork last year, in the years past. We didn't really want to guard him. He was give him the three. And, now he's shooting 50% from the three. So, a credit to that young man because he's obviously worked and put in the time. But very, very good college basketball player.
I don't know how many times people dorked Trent early on in his career, so maybe it's not the same, but is the way that you use Trent now very similar to how they use Marcel at Marquette?
Yeah, I mean, they're different players, but yes, conceptually, I think that, they're a team that, again, he's averaging 20, just shy of 24 a game. So, he's got to be a primary scorer for those guys and for them. And he's really good at it because he scores in a lot of ways. And, he's the point of their press. He's active. He's got great hands, he's got great size. So, he's very, very versatile, but conceptually, yes, Matt.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, I guess as you've started the season, down some guys, and you feel like maybe this team was in a better place to handle that because you've got 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds on the roster?
Yes. And there's no doubt. I mean, if you're doing this with a bunch of young guys and a bunch of freshmen, becomes really challenging. And, playing, people have no earthly idea how hard it is to make the jump from high school to college. And when you're doing that with young guys and you're out and your best players are out, having a group of veterans around them has definitely helped us, Scott, no doubt. And it's that experience helps. And I hope it helps us as we go on the road.
And I guess, defensively, even knowing it's a small sample size, you've got a turnover percentage that's even higher right now than it was in your first couple of years where that was a focus. Is it the added length at seemingly every position that is maybe helping you do that without being so heavy and ball denial?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, we're trying to force more turnovers. We're trying to be a little more active in gaps. I think we're trying again to be almost the opposite of denial, not getting overextended. But I do think we're active. I do think we have a better understanding of what we're trying to do.
Sure. Thank you.
Is that everybody? For Coach? Do I hear anything
I
else?
have one. I think Tyler doesn't have one.
Go ahead, keep going.
Hey, Coach, with Coleman defensively done a lot of good things, going to face the most physical test if you look at Justin Lewis at the 4. How much more ready is he for that this year versus last year? Now, that was something you talked about in terms of him handling physicality.
Yeah, that's what Adam Fletcher earns a living to do, is help guys get ready for that challenge. And Lewis is a physical specimen. He's 235, 240 pounds. Coleman is an elite defender, not because of his girth, but because of his length, his anticipation, his IQ, and to guard guys like that for the course of 40 minutes, that's the next challenge for Coleman. And he's much more prepared. Last year, Derek, I mean, he was in 2 and 3 minute stints and then he was exhausted. So we've seen his stamina, we've seen his growth. We've also seen how hard Coleman plays, his tenacity, his effort. I mean, he drew 10 fouls the other night. That activity is really special. Now he's got to carry that to a big boy game.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you more. Tyler, you got one?
No, Scott asked exactly the question I was going to ask. So thanks.
You got it. We'll see you in Milwaukee.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks.
Thanks, coach.
Okay, stand by.